Hey guys, it's Bree. I hope you're having a fantastic Wednesday, and it is review day. Today we have up A Stir of Bones by Nina Kiriki Hoffman. A Stir of Bones is a kind of haunted house story. It revolves around a girl named Susan, who's what you think of when you think of like the perfect daughter. Right? She's smart, she's well behaved, she's got the beautiful blonde hair and the blue eyes, and she's like fantastic at sports and everything. And at the same time, Susan has a really hard time fitting in. She finds herself kind of self-isolating, and for a lot of the kids at her school, it's a mystery why. They're pretty sure she's just a stuck-up rich snob. And when you start getting into the book, it's very clear right away that this is not the truth. Susan is in fact very insecure and very afraid of what's going on in her home. I will say from the get-go that this is a book that revolves around abuse. You don't see anything graphic. Hoffman doesn't really go too much into detail, but it is very clear from the very beginning that Susan's father is abusing her and her mother, both physically and emotionally. Susan is working on a science project when she overhears her housekeeper's son, Julio. Julio is talking about how he and his friends are going to go there and get into some sort of maybe trouble. And for the first time in her life, Susan really decides to take a leap and insists that she go with them. This is really difficult because her very controlling father doesn't let her out of the house very much. She's terrified, but when she gets there, the house is even scarier than you would think. And then a mysterious boy named Nathan shows up. He's dressed in older clothing, he speaks slightly antiquated, and he seems to know a lot more about house than they do. Nathan is, of course, a ghost. Susan, Julio, and Julio's two friends realize that house is alive, and that house has a special bond with Susan. The four are basically complete strangers who come to know one another through their shared experience at this haunted house. And Susan, over time, has to decide whether this is going to be a fundamental change in her life, or if she's going to be willing to give it up and her special connection with House and Nathan in order to go back and live a peaceful life in her father's home. I have a lot of feelings about this book. I'll go ahead and say it. So the very first thing that struck me about it was how much it reminds me in tone of Among Others by Jo Walton. It's a little ethereal, very much focused on atmosphere and the characters' internal lives and how it relates to the kind of broader world around them, but very introspective at the same time. Susan doesn't have that same kind of connection to the genre and fiction that I think really makes Among Others as fantastic as it is from an SFF fan perspective. But there is that same kind of emotional resonance in the story. I really liked Susan. I thought that her character was interesting and very emotionally well developed. Julio, the kind of male lead, so to speak, aside from Nathan, the ghost boy, is also very well done. A lot of the side characters, however, left me feeling like it was a little lacking. Mostly that I wish that there had been more of an emphasis on the group as a whole as opposed to focusing almost exclusively on Susan. I would have really liked to get their backstory as well and know more about them as people. Particularly there's Deidre, who is the one kind of other girl in the group who really seems to want to reach out to Susan. And I wish we got more of that relationship and that relationship building. I will say this book had me in ups and downs. I really liked a lot of the ways that Hoffman is trying to get at the emotional abuse that's going on in the family's home. I really liked a lot about how she was trying to approach the subject and the way she focused on the relationship that Susan had with her father as something more complicated and much more about a sense of ingrained loyalty that her father has instilled. and how she balances that with the sense of betrayal over the way that her father has been harming her and her mother. At the same time, the ending left me very disappointed, and I guess in a way it's set up so that you're not going to be happy no matter what, I think. I mean, she's like a 14, 15-year-old girl who is not going to be able really to do anything significant as far as leaving her family's home or magically rescuing her mother. There's just, it left me really wanting more, but not knowing what a satisfactory ending would have been. But at the same time, I think the ending is interesting insofar as it showed a lot of Susan's mom and kind of the way that a woman can be kept in an abusive relationship. I'm not entirely sure, again, how I feel about the end. I just know I wanted something different. It was not as scary as I had hoped. I was really hoping that it would be a little bit scarier, and it wasn't. But at the same time, really, I think, emotionally interesting. So we'll see. I'm definitely going to pick up some more stuff by her and see what else she's written. I know this is a story that she says that she had been waiting to write. Like, it was an idea in her head that she'd had for so long, and this was her finally getting to write it after, like, having it basically building for, like, 25 years. So I'd really be interested in seeing her other work and looking at how her writing style has developed. Overall, especially considering how short it was, I'm certainly pretty pleased I picked it up, even while I still feel conflicted and a little disappointed at the end. Actually, one of those few cases of an actually really mixed bag. So let me know if you have read anything by Nina Hoffman. I'm really looking forward to getting to read some of her other stuff. I really want to see more of what she's written and put this book in particular into context. And I'd also love to hear your thoughts about it, particularly the end. Don't give spoilers, but I'm very interested in people's thoughts on the end. So, you know the drill. Comment, like, and subscribe. I hope you're having a fantastic reading week, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.